Welcome to Postcards to the Universe with Melissa Caprio. Do you believe in magic? What if you were told that all you had to do was get a little creative and work a magic spell to bring anything you can imagine into your life? Here on Postcards to the Universe, we will share manifesting, tips, postcards, creativity, abundance, and prosperity. Here is your host, Melissa Caprio.
Hi, everybody, and welcome to Postcards to the Universe with Melissa, creating the life you crave. It's Wednesday, my favorite day of the week. How is everybody doing? I hope everybody is doing well and everybody is staying grounded. It is a crazy time right now. And if you're into astrology, I'm learning more as I'm watching these wonderful astrologers on YouTube. I guess Pluto just went into Aquarius, so there's a big shift there, and we're coming up to another Mercury retrograde, which those are always fun. So I hope, like I said, that you're staying very grounded. I have a very interesting guest today, Arlene Miller. She is a work life balance coach, but she also does soul readings. So we're going to talk all about that, and I'm going to bring her out in just a couple of minutes. If you're joining me for the first time, I want to say I'm so excited to have you here. Thank you for joining me and welcome. And just so you know, that we do record the shows live. So if you're listening right now, it is November 20th, 4 p.m. Eastern Time. But we do also put each show that we record live up in the archives. So if you like today's show, I'm always featuring really interesting guests, and you want to come back and see some of the other guests that I've had on my show. You can find that on Om Times Radio in the archive section, and there's always a information on my guest and what we're going to be talking about, and a little bit about their bio. And also, I put the same information up on postcardstotheuniverse.com under a podcast. So I hope that you enjoy it. And if you are, like I said, listening for the first time, a little bit about me. I am an artist, I'm an author. My background is actually in photography. And I wrote a book, and it's titled Postcards to the Universe, Harness the Universe's Power. And I did was I have people create manifesting postcards, which is sort of like a mini vision board. And just FYI, this is a great time to start thinking about what you want to bring into your life in 2025. I cannot believe we're almost out of 2024. It's been crazy. Anyway, so people would send me their postcards, or I would grab them in a workshop that I would do. And when that came true, what they put on their postcard into their reality when it showed up, I shared their stories. So the book is 30 manifesting postcards and stories. And the book came out, it's actually 5 years ago that the book came out, which is unbelievable. Cannot believe 5 years has gone by this quickly. And what I did is I decided to re photograph the pictures I took, because things changed a lot for the way I started photographing the postcards during COVID. And I decided to rephotograph all the postcards. So you can find all those on any of my social medias. I post them all the time. And I usually was posting them with a weekly magical message. I haven't done one in a few weeks, but I'm going to be getting back into doing postcards and posting the messages again. It's just things have been just, like I said, just a little nutty lately. But if you want to make a manifesting postcard, I think, like I said, now is a great time to make one. What is it that you want to bring into your life in 2025? In any area, relationship wise, career, money, health. And if you need help, you can reach out to me. But I do tell you how to create one, how to set the space, and the address to send it on postcardstotheuniverse.com. So please send me them. I love getting them. I get so excited when I go to the mailbox and I receive postcards. Okay. So let's talk to my guest today, and I'm going to read you a little bit about her. Arlene Cohen Miller, she brings a wealth of training and experience to help you compassionately and wholeheartedly lead yourself and create the life that works and feels right for you. A life where you experience less stress and more patience, kindness, and peace. A life where you experience more contentment and joy. What holds us back are the stories that we tell ourselves that are not about love. They are about judging ourselves and others. This causes us to contract and play small. It drags down our vibration so that we are flooding our bodies and fields with fear. An important part of her mission is to share simple tools and help people ground and express more love, let go of what's not serving them, and open to a new way of being. Arlene is a work life balance coach. She's an attorney, a certified meditation diploma in transformational holistic counseling. She facilitates weekly classes in transformational healing and self mastery. And she's also trained in crystal healing and does soul readings with psychic tarot oracle cards. And you can find out more about her on her website, which I'm going to spell it for you since we're on the radio. It's www.jewel, Jewel, consultancy.com. Welcome, Arlene. Thanks so much for being here with me today.
Well, I'm really excited to be here with you, Melissa. Thank you for asking me.
Oh God, and you know what? I think we really need your message right now because I never get into politics, but I know there's a lot of fear happening. I can feel it. I'm super sensitive anyway. And, just if you go on social media, obviously you see it everywhere, right? So a lot of us are in fear
Right.
and we're not grounded. And we don't even know what's going to happen in the future, which way we're going. So I think it's really good. It's like great timing that you just happen to schedule for today. Like I schedule a few months ahead of time, so I don't always know what's going to be happening, obviously, in the world when a guest shows up. But it's perfect, perfect timing. So, how did you get
Yeah.
into the kind of work that you're doing? I mean, you have a very diverse background.
I do have a very diverse background.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, so I decided I wanted to be an attorney when I was 15. I've had two
Okay.
law firms. One is a solo practitioner in Cleveland, Ohio, and one is a partner in a small boutique law firm in a suburb of Denver. And I moved to Denver when my son was 9. I had already been divorced, married and divorced, and when we got divorced, he sort of exhibited a lot of symptoms of ADHD. So as a
Mm,
mother, I was really I just wanted to make it better for him. I wanted to find ways that he could function in the world and, not be so overwhelmed, by stimuli and stuff like that. And so I went on a healing journey to help him. And funny how things happen when we're looking to help another, how we go on our own healing journey ourselves. And so that's what I did. I learned all sorts of healing
mm.
modalities. He got different healing kind of things working with him. I did as well. And it was a lot more than that, but I was really interested before that. And it was a part of who I was, but I hadn't really, you're talking about grounded, I hadn't really begun to ground it in my life. I was focusing on other things. I sort of pushed it to the side, even though I always felt like, why am I on this planet? So
Right.
yeah, it's not like a snap your fingers kind of thing. It's been an ongoing, ever evolving journey.
Yeah. Oh, for sure. I mean, I think we're always transforming, right? And things are always happening. We're always changing. We're always growing. So that makes total sense. And usually, it's interesting that you said that, you started going on this journey after your divorce and when your son was going through his own dealings with the divorce. And what did you say, as ADHD I always get them confused, ADHD or ADD. I still don't understand the difference.
Yeah. Um, Yeah, there's a little bit of hyperactivity and ADHD, and yeah.
Oh, okay. Well, then that's definitely what my mother has because we joke that my mom has it, and I'm always like, she is.
Uh-huh.
It's definitely the ADHD because she's super hyperactive. Oh God.
Yeah.
But how? Okay, so when you started doing this work, did you decide to give up doing the law, or are you combining that with the healing work, which is kind of interesting?
Right. But it was like like I said, it evolved because the last about 4 or 5 years that I had my law practice, or even actually starting in 2011, when I got my diploma in coaching and mentoring. And it was really a unique school that I went to, the Global Coaching Academy, where they followed like the International Coaching Federation's guidelines, but it was really, really heart-based and heartfelt and not a coaching way that you learned like from your head. And then I got
Mm.
interested in getting a diploma, and I got a diploma in Transformational Holistic Counseling. I was still a partner in this law firm. I was still practicing law. It's from Australia, so I can't, practice, that in the United States. But I just felt like, and then I got certified as a meditation facilitator, all in that time
Mm.
period. And I felt it. I didn't go into this to lead the practice of law, but I really felt like I'm on the phone all the time. I'm negotiating settlements. I'm communicating with people. I'm the marketing person for my law firm. I could be a better mother, a better listener with the people that work
Mhm.
for us, a better wife. I was married at the time, and I just thought, wow, this will really enhance who I am as a professional. And
Right.
several years, a little bit down the road after that, I guess I was just tired of the practice of law because you can't leave it. You can't go on a vacation because you have to work really
Mhm.
hard before you go, really hard when you come back. It's always there. But with
Mm.
coaching and mentoring and soul reading and meditation, especially when most people are doing everything online nowadays, you can
Right.
sort of organize your life differently. And so that was part of the process too, but it's just like I could feel that one phase was beginning to come to an end, and I needed to begin to step into the other phase, in a new way. I really heard and felt that very clearly. And so I just followed that knowing.
Yeah, and it sounds like it went even deeper with your crystal healing and your soul readings and your psychic tarot oracle card readings, which we'll talk about in a minute. But I want to talk about something that is really relevant right now. It's about judging. I think we're all in a space of judging right now, right? And you talk
Right.
about how that keeps our vibration low. And people who listen to
Yeah.
me a lot know that I talk a lot about vibration because making the manifesting postcards is fun and I love it, and it taps into our creative side, which is great for manifesting. But if we're it doesn't matter if you're putting whatever you're putting on a postcard, but your energy or your vibration is really low. You're not going to manifest those higher vibrating things that you want in your life, right? So, what can
Right.
we do about our how do we drop the judgment, especially when major things are happening, and how 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 can we raise our vibration?
Right. Well, that's a lot of questions altogether. I guess
Yeah, it
I'll
is.
start talking a little bit, and I'll pause in between, and then I'll let you
Okay.
jump in because I could be talking the whole time we're together with just what you just asked
That's
right there.
okay. That's why I love having guests so I can learn something. So go ahead. Yeah, please.
Right. So
Okay.
so so judgment is about fear, and there's really only two different kinds of feelings on
Mm.
this planet. One is fear, and one is love. And when I'm talking about love, I'm not talking about conditional love, which is I'll love
Right.
you if you do X, Y, and Z for me, but if you don't do it, I'm going to withdraw my love. I'm talking
Right.
about unconditional love. Love is given freely with no expectation of getting anything back. And so when we judge someone or something else, first of all, we're lending our energy to what we're
Mm.
judging. And
Mm.
also, if we judge someone or something hard enough, in another incarnation, we are going to be incarnating in a way that we're going to have that experience. For example, let's say that I was in one religious group and I really judged another one. I thought that they were whatever horrible words you want to say, and the whole everyone that I was surrounded with, they're heathens or this or that, whatever really negative language you're throwing at them. We're right, you're wrong. If I really seriously judge them, good chance is I'll be born into that religion because I have not learned the lesson that there's more things that bring us together than take us apart. Right. And I guess one of the other things that I would share is, of course, judgment. What happens is we judge someone or something, and then we judge ourselves for judging that person or something because we know in our heart of hearts that's really beneath us, and that's not who we are. And so we get on this kind of hamster wheel cycle of going around and around and around, and we can't get off. And so what we really need to do in order to drop the judgment, I guess, one thing that I do, what I always remind myself is, okay, I'm in this human body. I'm a soul embodying this human. My physical body that I'm embodying only knows what it knows based on how many years I've been alive in this body. My soul and my greater spirit has a much wider experience. And from when I've had like downloads, and when I've been with people that have a much higher vibration than I do, I really get that a lot of times what we're seeing in the world is maybe what we're taking on from what other people say, and we're not anywhere near close to seeing the whole picture. We're maybe seeing a teeny tiny little square stamp of what's going on. And so what I like to do is I like to choose to hold the ideal. How would planet Earth be if there was peace, if there was harmony, if there was unity, if there was balance, and not because, what we focus on, if we're focusing on everything that's wrong, wherever we're focusing on that planet, we're lending energy to it, and we're asking to have more of that in our lives. So for me, that's really, really, really sobering. So what I have been training myself to do is go, wow, I really don't want to feed into that kind of energy. I want to look at the common ground that I have with other people. I want to look, I want to feel into, how would the earth be if I focused, or how would the earth be, how would I feel about my life when I died, or right before I died, and I really had focused on unity, harmony, balance, wisdom, and peace, and really visualized and felt the world as that, and me and my life as that, or groups as that, instead of all this dissension that we have on the planet. I wonder how things would be different. And, each of us can do our part in that. And, I just remind myself constantly, there's how can I possibly know what it feels like to be a being on the galactic or the universal level? Really? Or on the cosmic level? We're down here in 3D on planet Earth. How small is the world here? And so I guess I find that really, really humbling. And, I tend not to listen to all that hate because it's so much judgment. It's gonna corrupt my body, my energy field by even partaking in that. It's going to bring me down. And so, and then if I start talking to myself about it, it gets even worse. So that's my starting point. I mean, there's a lot of energetic things I can talk to you about with cleansing and clearing your energy field and being grounded. But I just like to remind myself that, I'm not trying to be right. My goal is to be a little less wrong every day. Because if I believe that I'm right and other people are wrong, there's all that us versus them all the time. And I know that I make tons of mistakes because there are opportunities to learn and grow. I make tons of mistakes. We all do. So that's my basic philosophy. And that's a little bit of an intro of how we can begin to apply that.
Yeah. Well, you're 100% right. Whatever we focus on expands. So if you're focusing on the negative, the hatred, the fear, the otherness of that person, it's just that you'll create more and more of that in your energy field because that's what manifestation is. You're attracting where you're putting your energy and your vibration. So I totally resonate with what you're saying and agree with that. And also, I am a believer too that whatever it is we are not learning in this life, and if it's we're hating on other people in this life, there's a very good chance in our next life we're going to come as having that experience and being on the other side of it, right? So I totally I
Right,
totally I totally see that. And I, of course, I'm not perfect and catch myself judging a lot, especially when certain situations happen. I can't help it. I have a very fiery spirit also. So I get fired up easily. But I do try to remind myself, okay, let me just stop, get out of that tornado I've just created in my mind and ground myself and look to raise my vibration here. Let me get myself out of that story. And you talk about stories too. But before we talk about stories, why don't you share a little bit practical things that we could do to raise our vibration?
right. So one of the first things that we want to do is to be really grounded, like you're talking about. An easy way to be grounded is I like to go out, and if I really don't feel grounded at all, and I'm inside and it's not working, and outside is not too bad weather or whatever, I
Mhm.
like to go outside because Mother Nature is an energy.
Yeah.
She's not a being. She's like the vibration of all these just magnificent, loving, healing energies. And so when we go outside, I find it's a lot easier to ground. And I just pretend. I mean, I'm being a little exaggerating here. I just pretend that I'm a tree. I really see this column of light going from my crown chakra, not my crown chakra, my heart chakra, down my
Mhm.
body, down my legs. And when it comes out my feet, it comes out of these huge roots of light and it grounds into the heart of the planet. And so our planet Earth is embodied by this beautiful being, Gaia. She
Mhm.
is our planetary mother, especially for these bodies that we're borrowing for a while. And she loves us unconditionally. And the beauty of that is that lots of us, although our parents did their best, we didn't experience unconditional love. There was conditions placed
Right.
on it. And so she can wrap us up in her unconditional love, because we're connecting with her. We're acting like as this conduit between heaven and earth to, especially if we work with the universal violet flame, which I could tell you about,
Mhm.
and, we can send her our gratitude and love and be really grounded. And so when we're grounded, it brings us back into the present moment. Because if we're
Mhm.
focusing on the past, we can be
Yeah.
feeling bad about what happened, or we can be reminiscing. If we're focusing on the future, we can go into anxiety or overwhelm, or even it might be something we're excited about if we're taking a vacation that we're looking forward to, but we're not fully present here now. So I'm not saying don't feel your feelings because feeling is healing, but what I'm
Yes.
saying is get yourself aligned to love and centered in your heart of hearts. And the first way you can do that is by being really grounded, fully present in your body, not floating off in your imagination, not floating above, because the only way that we can really take on any of the lessons that we're learning is if we're fully present in our body. That's how we can upload it to soul level. That's how we can take it to our next life. If we're just floating above all the time in that blissy state,
Right.
it's going to be like it didn't happen. So,
Right.
a simple way that we can ground. If we really have a difficult time, we can use like hematite. It's very, very grounding.
Mhm.
Put it between
Mhm.
our feet and help us to ground into the planet. But it's
Yeah.
really a kind of a celebratory for me when I do it, and I really suggest that your audience try it, especially out in nature.
Yeah. I mean, so many people I know talk about grounding, and I do it now every day in my daily meditation practice that I started in the mornings. I imagine connecting down into Mother Earth, and I really notice it's helped me tremendously since I've become so consistent in my daily morning practice of meditation. It's like
Yeah.
it really it works. I don't know, it just does. You just know it by how you feel. That's how you know if it's working, right? So,
Right.
I it's interesting because I was thinking about something that I was reading in your bio and about you, and I believe this too is we we make up these stories, right? We make up stories about ourselves, about other people, about why we don't have enough money, or why we don't have the relationship we want. Like, we've created this all in our imaginations and our minds. And so then the universe says, okay, if that's the story you want to live by, then sure, there's your story. And then we say, see, this is why, like, I know somebody who says, I have bad luck, or I'm cursed. And of course, things keep happening to prove this person's story correct. And I'm like, stop
Right.
telling yourself you're cursed. That's just a story, right? So I want to talk a little bit about that, but I'm looking at the clock and I see we're just going to be coming up to our commercial break. So why don't we take our commercial now? And then let's talk about the stories that we tell ourselves when we come back. So stay tuned, be back in just 2 minutes.
Conscious media for conscious minds. Om Times. Host your show on IOM FM, the radio network of Om Times Media, one of the more recognized brand names in the conscious community, and is backed by the extensive marketing reach of Om Times. Hosting a show on IOM FM immediately connects you with our extensive dedicated community.
My name is Victor Furman. Some call me The Voice. I've always been fascinated with human nature, spirituality, science, and the crossroads at which they meet. Join me Wednesdays at 8 p.m. Eastern on Om Times Radio, and we'll explore these topics and so much more on Destination Unlimited.
Ascending Hearts is no ordinary dating site, but a spiritual dating site with a purpose, to link you with your soulmate. We engineer the serendipity so you can trust that you will attune with someone that has the same matching vibration as you. Ascending Hearts, the conscious dating site for the spiritually aware. Try Ascending Hearts for free, ascendinghearts.com.
Hi, I'm Melissa Caprio from Postcards to the Universe, Creating the Life You Crave. Do you believe in magic? What if I told you all you had to do was get a little creative and work a dream spell to bring anything you can imagine into your life? Well, guess what? I've got the spell for you. Postcards to the Universe, a global movement for manifestation, is a casting magical tool for you to use whenever you want. How does living in passion sound to you? Join me in my movement where you get to create in the magical playground. Let's think outside the box and do some playful conjuring. By casting out our desires with a manifesting postcard, we explore our hearts and allow the alchemy of our dreams to appear. And don't forget to tune in each week here on Om Times Radio with my show, Postcards to the Universe, Creating the Life You Crave at 4 p.m. Eastern Time. I share tips on creativity, abundance, and prosperity, and you will be introduced to the coolest guests, trailblazers, mystics, and creatives who enrich our lives.
Hey, everybody, and welcome back. So, Arlene, I was thinking now, Arlene Miller is my guest, and she is a work life balance coach. She's also a meditation facilitator, and she's actually done so many things. So, we were talking about stories, or I want to talk about stories we tell ourselves. So, before we went on the break, and I was thinking during the break, what kind of stories do we tell ourselves that are about fear or that are not about love that a lot of us are doing on it, with our whole lives, basically?
Yeah. Yeah, I think we tell ourselves all kinds of stories. And I guess what was coming up for me as you were sharing before the break is that the first step to turning that around is just ask the universe to make me aware of how I'm talking to myself and others. Because when I was in my 20s and having relationships after I was divorced that were less than stellar, putting it nicely, um, I really didn't hear how I was sharing with my friends about, like, especially one relationship. I
Yeah.
thought that one way to bond with my friends was to tell them everything that was wrong with this person. And I
Mhm.
didn't really realize until I sort of got hit with something from one of my friends because of what I had shared, what I was doing and how it was impacting others and my life. I was totally oblivious. So oftentimes we don't even hear how we're talking to ourselves. We think it's who we are. It's not who we are. We are a soul
Mhm.
and a spirit having an experience on planet Earth. We're not our thoughts. We're not our feelings. We are a soul and spirit having this human experience. And we just think that this is who we are. This is how it is. And so we just need to ask the universe first and foremost, please show me how I am talking to myself and with others that is not about love. And then we can do something about it.
Mhm.
Then we can make a new choice. And oftentimes, like,
Yeah.
I was just flabbergasted. I was just like blown away. It was very, very, very humbling, but awesome as
Yeah.
well because once we know and we look in the eye of these stories that we're telling ourselves that are not about love, it dissipates their power over us. They start to shrink and contract. And then we can start to talk to ourselves and live our lives in a way that is about love and start deleting all these stories that are not.
Mm. I like that question. Yeah, that's really good. Yeah, I like that. Oh, and stories, especially like I have so many women friends that are single and are dating and are on the dating apps, and they always have a story. Well, you never meet anybody, you don't ever meet anybody good, or all these people are this way or that way. And it's always a story and it's always in the negative. And I'm always like, well, I guess that's gonna be true for you if you keep believing that, right? That is not true, but
Right,
that's a story that you've
right,
told yourself. And I think universally, and you can give me your opinion on it, that all of us or most of us in this world have had a story at least at one point in our life that says, I am not enough. I am not good enough, or I am not worthy in some aspect. Would you
right.
agree with that?
Yeah, I think at the core, it wasn't, I don't think it
Yeah.
was here at the time that we were initially created, but there's a core, like, grain of sand in all of us that says
Yeah.
I'm not worthy of love. And if anyone
Mm.
knew the stuff about me that only I know, they wouldn't want to be with me. And, I think
Mm.
in the process of over time of that being like, just like dissolved, so it's not a part of who we are anymore. And if we hear those kind of voices or think those kind of thoughts or have those kind of feelings, we just need to affirm to ourselves, that's not the truth. That's not who I
Mm.
am. That's a lie. I'm a being of love. I'm a part of this
Mhm.
universe. I am a soul and spirit having this human experience. And I am making more and more choices about love each and every day.
Mm. Yeah. Yeah, it's a constant conversation with yourself. I notice I do that too. I started doing deeper work, on myself. I realized that I'm constantly talking to myself and reminding myself because we can go back into very easily these negative patterns,
Right,
of criticizing ourselves. I mean, God, the way we talk to
right,
ourselves, we would never talk to somebody that we love, especially a child, an innocent child. And I found that for me, doing mirror work, which I learned from Louise Hay, really helped. And also reminding when I get angry of something or I'm criticizing, would I talk to my niece that way? And it's always
right.
never. Never would I do that
Right.
to her. And then I remind myself, well, that's you too. Remind yourself,
Yeah.
that's you too, which I think is
Yeah.
really important. Do
It
you
is.
have
It
like
is. I mean,
yeah, go ahead.
I
That's what I
go
was
ahead.
going to
I'm
ask
sorry.
you.
Yeah,
No,
I was going to just jump in and say,
yeah,
go ahead.
please. No, you
So
go.
anyway, no, yeah. So what the way I handle turning that inner critic into an inner coach is like one step more. Maybe you're already doing this. You probably are. It's like if I was talking to a dear friend or someone that I really loved, and they were telling me the situation that I'm telling myself negatively, what would I say to them? And we know how to do this. How
Mhm.
would I be nurturing them? How would I be supporting them? How would I be championing them? If they really had their head up a dark place, what kind of tough love would I deliver them to them, but with love and kindness. And then we
Mhm.
just need to turn around and practice giving that to ourselves.
Yeah. Yeah. No, that's really good. And I think that it would be good if we could learn to do that to those people that we're judging. And when you're talking about love, you're talking about impersonal love. It's not a personal love. It's like you can love humanity, right? But that doesn't mean that you're connected to everybody who lives on the planet. So how can we, I mean, we are connected through our consciousness, but physically, I mean. So it would be a good practice when you're looking at somebody and they're triggering so many things that you don't like, how we can look at them and offer them compassion and love. Like, how can we do that? That's hard.
Yeah, well, first of all, I work with the universal violet flame to cleanse and clear things so that I'm not carrying around the fear, the doubt, the disbelief, the hate, the
Hmm.
negativity of other people. And because we're in a physical body,
Hmm.
we are, as long as we are in this physical body or any physical body, we are energetically connected, as you were um, sort of sharing a little bit in a different way than I do, but it's the same thing. We're energetically connected to the psyche of humanity, to the conscious,
Hmm.
subconscious, and unconscious mind of humanity. So lots of times, if we get really upset by things, it's not even our own stuff. We've listened to other
Mm.
people, we've taken on their stuff,
Yeah.
and the only thing that we can clear is our own stuff. So what I do every day, among other
Hmm.
things with the universal violet flame, is I call forth the universal violet flame to flood the psyche of humanity, the psyche of all men, the psyche of all women. And the violet flame transmutes and transforms fear into love. So any
Hmm.
energetic connection that I have to the mind of anyone, who is informed, whether they're on this planet or not, I'm cleansing and clearing that connection. So that's benefiting them and it's benefiting me. And there's other ways we can cleanse and clear our bodies and fields so that what we're feeling is actually our stuff. Because if we're not cleansing and clearing and protecting our energy field and our bodies and
Hmm.
all of that stuff, then a lot of the stuff that we're feeling and what gets us all wound up, it's not our stuff. We can't clear it. It's not really who we are. And, because I'm, as a compassionate friend, on radio to you, even though we just met,
Hmm.
I would watch that language. You mentioned it's very hard to do that. So if we tell
Mm.
ourselves it's very hard to let go of
Thank
that
you.
angst, that
Thank you.
frustration, that fear, that hate, of course it
Right.
is. And I'm not
Right.
saying that any of this stuff is easy. This path is
Yes.
not necessarily easy. There's like no magic fairy dust. It's like practice, 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 choosing to be a new way.
Yeah. Yeah, good point. Yes, and you're right. Yeah, see, and I know, yeah. That's why I love having guests on because they remind me like watch your watch how you're saying what you're saying because and I know and I'm like, yeah, you're right. I have to say if I'm saying something's very hard, well then yeah, it's going to be very hard. Right? But let talk
Yeah,
about tell us about this. I've heard about the violet flame and working with that, but I don't know that much about it. So can you share a little bit about what you're
yeah.
talking about? Yeah.
Sure. So the violet flame is like the seventh ray of source. It's the ray that's really out there to help us in the new age of Aquarius. And so what I like to visualize is that there's this beautiful column of light that's way bigger than my body can feel. It's coming down from source, and it's surrounding me and anchoring to the heart of the earth. And then I call in the light and the love of source and the universal violet flame to flood all of my bodies and fields, and then anchor into the heart of the planet. And then I just ask and set up that, you know, any thoughts, any feelings that I let go into the violet flame that are not about love, please transmute and transform them into love as usable energy for Gaia, because she really needs our help. You know, it's not easy to be, all of this judgment is like massive weight on her. It's really hard. Imagine that all the weight of humanity was on your body and shoulders. That's what she's dealing with. That's really difficult. So any way that I can help her by taking things in my body that are not about love, working with the violet flame just to transmute and transform it into love and gifting it to her and seeing what she wants to do with it for the benefit of all the kingdoms on planet Earth, that's my pleasure. You know, I know that I don't have to be anything important. I don't have to go on a stage. I can just do that. And we can flood the violet flame through all of our bodies and fields, you know, to help transmute and transform fear into love, you know, in our bodies and fields, and let go of what's not serving us.
Yeah. Oh, I like that. Yeah, I don't. I need to start adding that because I've done a meditation with somebody else who walked us through one working with the violet flame. It was many years ago, and yeah, about transmuting and transforming, like a phoenix, right? Like rising, shifting the energy and changing the energy. That's beautiful. So you do that in your daily practice, the violet flame
Yeah, and I
meditation.
also, I
Hmm.
also, I also flood all of my chakras and the glands that are connected with my chakras with the universal
Hmm.
violet flame. You know, because
Mm.
that way, you know, we can have them like in a beautiful gold, our whole body in a beautiful golden bubble of protection. But you
Right.
know, sometimes when negative energies get in, they can, you know, impact our chakras. They can impact the glands that are connected to our chakras. And so I make a point of, you know, cleansing and clearing my chakras, having the violet flame flood through my bloodstream, you know, flooding all those bits of my body, just to make sure that, you know, I'm really cleansing and clearing myself, you know, every day.
Yeah, I like that. Thank you. Yeah, I'm gonna add that. I'm gonna add that in my morning meditation. Um, so I want to talk about these soul readings. What are soul readings? What? How did do you just connect with another person and you get a energetic hit on what's coming through from their soul? Can you share that with us?
Sure. So I have a friend who's a beautiful being, and she was doing soul readings with psychic tarot oracle cards. And
Okay.
she just was going to be getting into other things. And I'd already been doing readings without them. And I just got really, really strongly that I can be of much better service to people if they have visuals. And so a soul reading is like, I'm not giving you a reading on the personality level. I'm giving you a reading on the soul level. And so all I do is like to heart connect with the other person. You know, if I hold a big, huge space that's judgment free and flooded with unconditional love and higher, you know, compassion, calm assurance, courage,
Mm.
joy, all those beautiful sacred qualities, and it's just a judgment-free space, then I can do a reading for them. And basically, it can be done online, it can be done in person. And if the person has some sort of idea of what they'd like to focus on, they can put that into the mix. But since we're dealing at soul level, it's not going to tell you, hey, am I going to win the lottery? Am I going to get a
Mhm.
man? It's going to really tell you like what kind of opportunities are open to you, you know, what kind
Mhm.
of challenges or obstacles might be there and how to get around them. And if you have things that you want to move towards or create in your life, it'll talk about that. It'll also talk about ways that it's really important to acknowledge the progress that you've made, and oftentimes the beings that are already working with you right now to make sure that you connect with them and you'll stay out of your head and get into your heart. And
Mm.
so it's just sort of whatever flows. And
Mhm.
that's the way I do it. I always have people record them because it's so easy, in that time that we're together, with the
Sure.
cards there and the energies that are working and that heart to heart connection to only remember a couple things. And then, if they're recorded, then and you get
Right.
a picture of the card layout because they're picking half of them, I'm picking half of them. Even if we do it online, I have a way to do it so it's their energy. Then they
Mhm.
can just relax and be in the process, and then work with it maybe for the next 3 months and see what happens and from there.
Hmm. Okay, so that's what I was going to ask you, but you answered the question when you said so while you're doing the soul reading, you're shuffling cards, you're connecting with someone else, their energy is going into the cards, and then you're using the cards as like a guide to help give that person a message. Is that correct? Am I getting that correct?
Yeah, well, if they're here online and they're not in person with me, I sort of spread them all out and I just,
Yeah. Yeah.
tell them to visualize the cards and put their energy into it. I just sort of move my hands over the cards like in a big
Got
arc,
it.
and whenever they tell me to stop, depending on how long of a reading they want, it could be 6 cards, it could be 8 cards, it could be 10 cards that we each pick. And then I
Mhm.
sort of organize them intuitively. I pick a couple of anchor cards that are the anchor for the reading, and the rest of the reading revolves around that. And I just love it because I just find that people light up with the visuals, and
Mhm.
the cards always have messages. It feels like that help people to really acknowledge the progress that they've made in their life because we often don't do that. We often go
Mhm.
from one thing to the next thing without stopping to acknowledge and celebrate our victories along the way.
Yeah. Definitely. We don't actually do that very much, celebrate our victories along the way. We seem to think, okay, well, like it's like a check off list. Like, okay, I did that. Now what's next? Right. We don't take a minute to say,
Right.
oh, look at what I just accomplished. That's pretty amazing. Right. So I wanted to ask a little bit with the soul readings. You said something about your guides. Do you get intuitive hits or
I don't know. I
like
don't
you
know if it doesn't feel like that. It just feels
okay,
like energy from source is pouring in through my crown chakra, out my heart chakra, towards the other person, just enveloping the space, and
okay,
that I am sharing whatever's coming through to me. I'm not a perfect, because
right.
I've done a lot of work with psychological clarity because if we don't have psychological clarity, then anything that comes through us as a channel is going to be muddied up by all the fear that's inside of
Mhm.
ourselves. And so I've been working with psychological clarity and clearing myself for 22 years, but I mean, I think it's lifetimes and lifetimes of, letting go of stuff. So I'm always working on being, the clearest, brightest channel that I can be. Um, it doesn't feel like anything to me. It just sort of feels like all of a sudden there's like a lot to say. And so
Mhm.
it doesn't feel like I'm getting a hit. It just feels like I'm feeling a lot of love in the energy of being with this person. There's a
Yeah.
lot of rapport with them, and then I just start talking.
Okay. Okay. Yeah. So if anybody's interested in wanting to connect with you to get that, you work one on one with clients if they want to do a soul reading with you.
Right, right. I do parties, but it has to be local. I'm not
Yeah.
going to fly out to New York or
Yeah.
something to
Yeah.
do
Yeah. Of
a group
course.
thing. Yeah, probably. But yeah, and I think they're really really helpful, and they're kind of a great kickstart if you're a little bit stuck and you have some
Mhm.
questions like you were asking me. Well, how do I drop the judgment? How do I
Mhm.
stop? Feeling all this hate and stuff that's around me. How do I stop? This is not just for you, but for your, of course, your audience as
Yeah.
well.
Right. Of
How do I
course.
notice these stories and stop telling them to myself? So it feels like to me that this kind of thing is these soul readings are really helpful for people for things like that.
Yeah. Yeah, I think so too. I love the cards. I have like 4 or 5 different decks and I will just sit here sometimes and just shuffle and shuffle and then if a card falls out, I'll be like, "Okay, well that's a message I may need to hear right now." I like to do it that way, just as just
Hmm.
sitting with myself. Yeah, I love the tarot. So these are the psychic. What are these? The psychic
They're psychic
cards.
tarot
Okay.
oracle cards. So they're
Okay.
oracle cards. They have some tarot
Mhm.
in there. So I'm
Yeah.
not I'm not trained as a tarot reader.
Right.
Um, And really, I'm not trained as any specific kind of reader. The lady that trained me is just like, you know, a lot. There's a lot of love in these cards, and it's your job
Mhm.
to keep on loving the cards and putting all the love in there. And if you lose a card, it gets messed up. You just replace like one at a time, so the energy stays there, and you just work
Mhm.
with that energy. It's
Yeah.
make sure that it's always about love.
It's always about love. And yeah, that it is about love. And I know you talk a little bit about gratitude. I talk a lot about gratitude. I talk about gratitude in my book, and I always feel like gratitude is a major um it's a major I'm looking for the right word. I can't think of the right word, but it's major in shifting your life, being in gratitude. Let me just say
Yes,
it that way.
it
So,
is.
yeah, you talk about how gratitude and work and life balance are related. Can you share a little bit
Yeah,
about what you mean by that? Is that your
yeah. I
dog?
guess what I see the most.
Is that your dog?
Sorry about that.
Yeah, no, that's okay.
Yeah,
That's all right. That's why I love doing live because the dogs will bark in the background. It's okay. It's cool. I love dogs.
he's in the other room and shouldn't be anywhere near my door, but I'm sorry about that. But
That's
I guess what
okay.
I find in people, okay, good. So what I find that people often do when it comes to gratitude, it's like that checklist that you talked about
Yeah.
when, and they do it from their heads. And so it's
Mm,
really important to
to do it
feel
from your
grateful.
heart.
And the mistake is to think that I have to wait for something to be grateful for. And so
Right.
what we can do is just look around in our life. You can even start with some room that you really like, your favorite room. And
Mhm.
what's the art on the wall? What do you love about this room? How do you feel in this room? What kind of beauty have you already added to this room? And for me, it's like, oh my God, I bought a new bed last year. It's like the most comfortable thing in the whole darn world. And I wake up and
Mhm.
go, oh my God, I love this bed. Or I take a hot shower and I'm like, oh my God, this is the best thing ever. And when we really acknowledge and we're grateful for what we've already created, that can be a really great way that we can just feel it. Or sometimes it's just like there's a certain person or a certain song or certain something that we've done in our life or something we're looking forward to that just puts a smile on our face, lights up our heart. And if we just think about that for the minute, it can bring in that deep feeling of gratitude. And
Yeah.
that when we raise our vibration, what that does, it causes us to expand out. And then
Mhm.
even if we're facing exactly the same challenges and obstacles, it's much more manageable because we're not
Yeah.
all small and contracted anymore. Because gratitude is a very high vibrational energy, much higher than
Yeah.
unconditional love.
Yeah, I agree with you. Gratitude is, I focus on that a lot, and where my home, I just love my home. I've made it a sanctuary, and it definitely, I feel it when I walk in my door. I love it so much. I make it so beautiful. I have art everywhere and I always have it smelling good. I'm always lighting candles. Like it is like a whole thing. So that every time I walk in my home, I'm so grateful for it, right? And I can feel it. I'm
Yeah,
not thinking about it. Like I'm not, yeah, you have to get it out of your head and into your heart. Like, yes, okay, yeah, you're
right.
grateful that you have running water. Okay, yeah, we're all grateful that we have running water. But like you said, are you experiencing it like when you take a nice bath and you make it special, and you could feel it? Like
Right.
that's where you want to be. You want to feel into gratitude. That's an important part of it. I'm glad you said that. Um,
Yeah. Because even
so
even if you go
yeah.
out and have exercise and get all sweaty and take a hot shower, it feels so
Right.
different than if you're just doing it because you have to get ready to go somewhere.
Yes, yes. And being grateful for, like you said, the people that you love, that you could just think about them in your mind and you think, "Oh, I'm so happy that person's in my life." Or think about your pets. I mean, how much do we love our animals, right? Every time you walk in your
Right.
house, I'm sure you're so happy to see your dog. Like every
Right.
time. And they're so
Right.
happy to see you and you can feel it. And those are things I think we need to remind ourselves because we get so caught up in the have tos of everything that we have to get done instead of like living in the present moment and being grateful for. a good dinner, a piece of chocolate, whatever it is that, that you really like.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So,
Well, it's fun to talk to you because you're so filled with gratitude, and that's a part of what you share as well. So that's really cool. Thank you.
oh, yeah. No, I've been working on gratitude. That really helped me after my divorce and everything sort of shifted in my life. Like I had to reevaluate everything, and gratitude really, really helped me get on my way of shifting everything in my life. So I always talk about gratitude. So Arlene, we only have like a minute and a half before we're going to wrap up. Is there anything that you want to say that you feel is important that we didn't get to, that you didn't get to say? And also tell people the best way to connect with you.
Okay, the one thing I just want to say really quickly is if you try anything, you practice anything that we shared today together, bring kindness, patience, and tolerance with yourself. If you've been doing something one way, it takes a while to turn that ship around and do it differently. So don't bring in that judgment. Don't cut yourself down. Just know that you're going to get there, but you're going to practice, and be kind to yourself in the process. And you can reach me at jewelconsultancy.com. You already spelled it for everybody. Or you can call me or text me rather at 720-936-2634.
Oh, that's wonderful. Thank you so much, Arlene. It was really a pleasure having you on my show today. And you guys, I want to thank you so much for joining me on Postcards to the Universe. And I'm wishing everyone a wonderful week filled with joy, abundance, and love. Peace.